we are going to try to fit a suggested function, you can see the function here, to our model, our 3 points that we have. If you've seen the modeling regression video, you'll see that those are the same 3 points I used in that video clip. So I'm going to jump to that point. If you remember, we put them into the stats mode, stored them in the list, from which we were able to plot the graph, which I wanted to be a scatter graph, and I chose to do a regression analysis on that, and the line I got had that information. And if you remember, I copied that and I press execute there. Then I go to menu, come across to graph, and we've got that graph already in on that particular section of the calculator. So I want to be working on the graph section, and I have a regression line that has it is a pretty good fit for those 3 points, and we did that, as I say, in the previous video. So now, having got that far, I think I need to reselect that and draw it, and I haven't selected it, so take that back out, exit, and I can go ahead and draw it now. Now the function they want us, the question wants us to fit to our blue line is suggested to be in that format. Now that's what I happen to know is stored within the calculator. So let's come down to an empty space for a new function, go into Tool, and there's some built-in functions there. So I can put them in like that. I click on that one, that's the function I'm after. I can actually plot that function as well. So if I draw it, I have the red line is that function. Let's just come back out of that. I actually don't just want to draw it, I want to actually modify these 3 values so that I can get it to fit. So I click on modify, and you see you've got some choices here with a step value. So I'm going to alter the A to start me off, step value of 1. So I'm going to use my arrows, and I've changed A to 1. And straight away you notice if A is 0, it's flat. If A is 1, it's taken on the right shape of curve. Now I'm going to move down to B, and I'm going to alter that as well. Let's change B. I'm going to move that up a bit, and it's going completely the wrong way. It's moving off my graph. So B needs to be a negative value, and that's not bad there. Moving down a little bit more, C, I think C, from looking at this function here, I think C is the amount you add on to the value. I think it needs to be negative, so I'm going to move it down a little bit. That's a pretty good fit, but I need to be a little bit more accurate than that. So I'm going to mess around with the step values. I'm going to make the step values 0.1 and go back up and start changing A again. A needs to be a slightly steeper curve, so I'm going to increase A. It's getting better. That's pretty good. That's very good. Let's move down to B and see what happens. It's getting closer again. It's a pretty good fit. Might have to come back on that one in a bit. And I'm going to move down to C, and it's gone the wrong way. I need to bring that down a little bit more. Okay, so you can see clearly this is a process that needs a little bit of an extra adjustment. Let's make it even more accurate. Let's go back up and mess with A again. And in this case, remember I'm on the red line. I need to make that tighter. think perhaps in the case of A, it would be wiser to stick to a step value of 0.1. Going down to B, which way do we want that to go? Getting pretty close now. It's not a bad fit at all. Slightly inaccurate there. That's not too bad. And so clearly we can continue with this. We can try to change the values a little bit more. And I think in this case I'd be tempted to go back to a step value of 0.1 and go back and have a little mess with A. And that's a very good fit, A being 2. So in this case we seem to have our answer. So let's put down the information we have. We believe our function f of x is equal to 2 lots of x minus negative 0.75 squared minus 1.1, and that gives us the value that we've been asked to fit. We need to tidy those two negatives up there. That's going to be 2 lots of x plus 0.75 squared minus 1.1. But remember, A equals 2, B is negative at minus 0.75, and C is also negative 1.1. Now just before we finish, if you don't have that function, you may remember that if we exit that and exit that again, I went into Tool and looked up some functions. You can put your own function in, and obviously this means you're going to have to use the alpha key to put some variables in. So let's say I wanted a variable which was dx to the power of 4. So I would need now to press alpha d, and then I'd press the x function, and it would be to the power of 4. And then I'd be in a position to draw that one and do some curve fitting for that. So you don't have to worry about always having the function in the calculator. You can put your own function in using the alpha key.